Hello, I'm Richard Chambers. Welcome to my continuing series, A View from the Audit Trail. Here I delve into issues and other topics relevant to internal audit professionals everywhere. Two of internal auditors' most important stakeholders are management and boards. We work hard to establish a good relationship with each. And based on my experience, most organizations recognize the importance of internal audit. They take our involvement seriously. However, one would have to be naive to think it's always smooth sailing. In fact, it's not a matter of if, but when the day will come when management or board members are not very happy to hear what we have to say. As Sophocles said more than 2,000 years ago, no one loves the messenger who brings bad news. The challenge becomes even greater when we need to deliver bad news to those whose areas of responsibility we just audited. It's never easy to tell someone that their audit results are unsatisfactory, or it's even harder to say that you found a major fraud. But delivering even the most difficult news is part of our job, and it's our obligation. Of course, there are right ways and wrong ways to deliver bad news. The direction you take can destroy or preserve or even strengthen a client's relationship. Your words can soften the blow or add insult to injury, impacting your audit's effectiveness as well as your stress level. That's why every internal auditor needs to master the art of delivering bad news. Here are a few tips that I would offer to ease that process. First, consider the time and place. Bad news should be discussed early as it surfaces during the audit. Avoiding the inevitable and waiting until the end is the worst place to pop an unpleasant surprise. It will undoubtedly create tension, and it will encourage a negative reaction. To avoid that, consider calling a private meeting without distractions. This can help maintain the dignity of a potentially embarrassed client. Second, be direct, but show empathy. Obviously, the facts are important and shouldn't be soft-pedaled, but consider the client's emotional reaction. Try to imagine the situation from their point of view. When someone is dealing with devastating news, it probably isn't the best time for a stern lecture on why internal controls are important. Nor should you try and make light of a situation or make a joke. That will come across as insensitive. Instead, use active listening skills and acknowledge their feelings. This leads to my third point, providing a balanced perspective. Internal auditors know that audit reports should be fair and balanced, providing good results as well as bad. The same principle holds true when delivering bad news. Often you can soften the sting some by also accentuating positive results that you observed during the audit. Fourth, look for possible solutions. Brainstorming with your client for a resolution is great, but you need to come prepared. If you don't have a solution to suggest, they might perceive the situation as being more dire than it really is. Of course, you don't need to finalize your audit recommendations before discussing the news with management. But if you haven't yet considered ways to correct an issue, then you're acting more as an inspector or a fault finder and not a trusted advisor. Finally, don't bargain away your internal audit findings or ratings. When a manager is hit with a problem, they might want to negotiate for more favorable results. Be prepared for questions like, do you really have to mention this? Or can you give me a better rating? To be sure, what your client says should absolutely be considered. They might even help clarify an issue or add important perspective. But unless the client can show you that your facts are incorrect, it's rarely necessary to eliminate a finding or change a rating. Being empathetic doesn't mean being a pushover. Delivering bad news is never easy. And even if you do everything right, it won't always go well. But showing empathy and understanding can go a long way to ensure that problems are addressed appropriately. That's how you build productive working relationships. Thank you for joining me today on my continuing series, A View from the Audit Trail. I'm Richard Chambers.